Hi, I'm Aaron Brusso, and I'm going to speak with you about Dayenu. So I think the way we tell stories makes all the difference in the world in terms of the things that we carry away from those stories. So when I was younger and I was in English class, I learned that there was a thing called a narrative arc. A narrative arc had a pattern of how a story would go, and typically, certainly in the Western world, the narrative arc would be rising action, climax, falling action, denouement. The sense in which there's development of a problem, there's some explosive, full presentation of this problem, cascading consequences of that problem, and then a denouement, a resolution of the problem, and all the narrative strands come together. And we could apply that to so many movies and books that we have read. And this way of telling the story presents a world in which there's harmony, disharmony, and a return again to harmony. And it also places, I think, human satisfaction and our lives going well at the forefront of our objectives in life. That when things don't go well, we immediately seek to return to a place of happiness. And this kind of narrative arc would communicate to us that we maybe deserve and are almost entitled to things going well and ultimately resolving our lives. We anticipate that in some future place, those things will be resolved, that the trajectory of our lives goes from disappointments to satisfactions to happiness. That things that are not good now will ultimately get better. And I think that's certainly been a lot of the cultural optimism that we have experienced here in America. The rabbinic perspective on narrative is different. Every single day we say blessings, not about the things that we are yet to have or are yet to be, but for things that we already have. The ability to open our eyes, to have our bodies function and allow us to exist, to be members of a Jewish community and inheritors of a beautiful tradition that wasn't just from yesterday or even today, but from thousands of years ago. And that gratitude is not generated by looking forward towards some future happiness, but as the rabbis say in Pirkei Avot, being samech bechalko, happy with what has come upon our lives up until this point. And so the narrative arc of Dayenu takes each piece of the Exodus story and allows it to be savored and appreciated on its own, as if each one was its own story, as if it would take us a lifetime to appreciate what each part of that story has given us. If we were to articulate it, it would almost be something like, I can hardly believe we were brought out of Egypt. I can hardly believe we were provided for in the wilderness. I can hardly believe we were given Shabbat. I can hardly believe we were given the Torah. There has rarely been, I think, a time in our lives, certainly for those of us who grew up in America, where we've been in a position to have to appreciate incremental aspects of our lives as we are right now during this pandemic. So much of the relentless optimism of life moving forward has come to a standstill as we are here right now with those around us, trying to see what is as opposed to what will be. And I think the rabbinic narrative is very helpful in this sense. The world doesn't owe us happiness in the future. We owe the world our gratitude for all the unearned beauty we have received up until this point. And Dayenu, that's enough. Chag Sameach.